Dragon Ball FighterZ Archetypes. Why? Because a lot of people have been posting archetypes of different games like Guilty Gear and Street Fighter and fighting games in general. So I figured before I do one for Guilty Gear and Melty Blood, because I should do Melty Blood. I need to do stuff about Melty Blood. I will start with Dragon Ball FighterZ. So there are a couple of ways you can look at Dragon Ball archetypes. So let's do the first one. This one is pretty important. So from one perspective, there are only 3 archetypes in Dragon Ball FighterZ, right? You guys ready? So you have Goku and characters that are like Goku. And then 2, you have Bardock. And you have characters like Bardock. And then you have everyone else. And those are the Dragon Ball FighterZ archetypes. So you have Goku, Bardock, and then other. What do I mean? You might be like, wow, what do you mean Goku, Bardock, and other? A real common thing about this game when it came out in Season 1 especially is that all the characters are the same, all the characters play the same. And it's not totally wrong. Like, a lot of characters do play similarly, and they're based off kind of these core concepts. So Goku is like a pretty simple character who zones with Ki Blast, does a lot of damage, conditions, blah, blah, right? So not only are there other literal Gokus that you can pick that all play like Goku somewhat with like little changes, but there are also characters that use like concepts that he uses to play the game, which is using just projectiles to control space, and then you hit them, you do a lot of damage, right? We call this actually the standard Dragon Ball character, and there are a ton of characters like this in the game. There are many, many, many characters from, again, other Gokus, like UI Goku, right, is one. Goku Black, who, by the way, is also Goku, is another one. But there's also characters that you might not actually think at a glance is like this, like Zamasu, slightly. Then we have Bardock. So this game, by the way, is balanced around Bardock. Even though he's not top tier anymore, all the things that Bardock has that is good in the game, they give to other characters. Like, for coincidentally, Blue Goku has gotten Bardock stuff, but I actually think he's more of a Goku than a Bardock, right? So there are less Bardocks in the game than there are Gokus, both literally and figuratively. So Bardock is about moving around the screen really quickly and threatening from full screen. And there are characters like Base Vegeta who fall into this, or Kefla who fall into this, right? And then we have all of the other characters, right? So what I'm trying to say is actually that the characters are really similar, and that you can't actually group the characters that much by individual characters because they are really similar. And compared to other fighting games where like you have a Guilty Gear character where there is so much stuff to a character and your goal is to eventually like get next to them and run some type of offense, where Dragon Ball characters are actually missing things. So I actually don't really like grouping the characters in a traditional fighting game way. I actually like grouping them by teams and where would you put a character on a team. I think it's a much better way to look at the characters. It makes the game make a lot more sense. Because, again, we have Bardock and we have Goku. And actually, the real only difference between Bardock and Goku is that Bardock has the lariat and he's more mobile than SSJ Goku. Like, that's actually it. For all intents and purposes, really, basically half the cast is Goku and the other half is not Goku, if you're looking at just characters. To really simplify and meme it out, right? Doing it from a team perspective is a much better way of doing things because your team will have a specific goal and the different characters will help achieve that goal. So what is this? We revisit a topic I talked about before, which is win conditions, right? So you can look at teams based on how they win. So an example would be, let's make up a team. Okay, so this team, and let's just say something like this, right? This is what I call the shotgun team. This team does a lot of damage. Why does it do a lot of damage? Because you can have access to Spirit Bomb. That does a lot of damage. It's a really high damage level 3. Gogeta has an instant kill that he can do to you in certain situations. Teen Gohan himself just does a shit ton of damage, right? The shotgun characters, the characters that tend to do a lot of damage in the game, Gogeta, Teen Gohan, Piccolo, Tien, Base Goku. I actually think UI Goku does a ridiculous amount of damage. Hit and Beerus also have access to a lot of damage. Zamasu, the only good thing about him is that he does a lot of damage. Jiren tends to do a lot of damage. Base Vegeta actually does a lot of damage. I'm trying to think of other characters here that I think I got most of them. The Gogeta of Wisdom, you say, would also be one. I kind of agree. Also, GT Goku has access to one because he can Spirit Bomb on his own. And Android 17 really good for meter building. Oh, of course, Super Broly as well. Super Broly would be another one. Super Broly. Baby's kind of in there too. There's a lot of characters that are good at doing damage. So when you go from here, it's not just characters that do a lot of damage, but characters that help characters do a lot of damage between their assist or their DHC or anything like that. So the real standouts would be like these two would be at the top of mind for everybody, where they he has Spirit Bomb, he has his level 1, his level 3. They do a lot of damage. Or like Teen Gohan, his level 1 does a ton of damage compared to other characters as well. So there's that aspect as well you can think about. Then you have the super neutral. So these are characters that are better at neutral than other characters for whatever reason. So Piccolo, it's a support aspect with his assist, the A assist. But then you have characters that are like just hyper mobile, like Base Vegeta. Or characters like Broly, who his Ki Blast beats other characters' Ki Blast. He has a move that ignores all projectiles for 4 seconds. Or Cooler, who has a lunge, his 3H. So he has a lunge that goes through projectiles and just kind of like hits you. So characters that have additional tools that are unlike other characters' tools that are good in neutral. If you have multiple of these on a team, or if you want multiple of these on a team, you can be like, okay, I want this neutral, beyond neutral, super neutral. So what type of characters would fit in here? So there's a few type of things that I think would fit in here, right? So low-key defensive assists like Roshi B and 18A and Cooler A actually all fit in here. Also characters with just ridiculously big normals, so Android 21, Broly, Cooler again. But also characters who control the screen in a unique way. So characters like Baby, Kid Buu, Piccolo, like I mentioned before. I want to think of one more. Android 17 is another character who can kind of do this. He has the Rekkas, so when you jump above him, you can't really do that much. So if you have a couple of characters with these tools, then it'll buff your team's neutral overall. Then we have characters that are good at traditional rushdown. So the conditioning style game where they don't have good mix-ups all the time, but they're good at making you feel like you can't do stuff, right? So you have characters like here, Vegito is probably the real standout, but the new SSJ4 Gogeta is like that as well. Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta has a mix-up that relies a lot on conditioning with his 6H, where Vegito just have really good normals that space him really well. There's also characters like Cell, revisiting Cell, who he has extra normals compared to other characters. So it's a combination of you either have something that you can make people scared of, that's not like a mix-up per se, but you can definitely hit people, or having normals that are just like exceptionally safe and put you in really good spots. There are actually a ton of characters in the game that do this, and it's probably like the most common thing a character has. Right now, the game doesn't like it when people have like super airtight mix-ups and stuff. So the vast majority of characters are at least okay. Some are better than others. Then we have Okizeme. So this is characters that give you good knockdown or have exceptionally good follow-ups after you hit them. So after Snap got nerfed, the value in these characters, if you're looking for this type of game plan, has gone up because it's gone from every character has the ability to do this with Snap to only a limited amount of characters can do it. So standouts are like Ginyu. So Ginyu has a setup he can do on his own, but then 21 you can DHC into hers. So, and hers is level 3. So the main things you'll see for characters like this are characters that have good level 3s. So Broly is 1, 21 is 1, Janemba is 1 where you can DHC into his. or characters who you may not be able to DHC into it, but they can do one. So like base Vegeta, or characters that have the ability to like put something independently of themselves and attack you. So Ginyu, Nappa with his restand, Android 18, base Vegeta actually can do this. Baby. Some people say Zamasu, but I actually think Blades of Judgment is just not good. And then probably the big one people are looking at, the big two are Piccolo and Gotenks. So Piccolo has an orb, and Gotenks has the ghosts that he uses. This is pretty uncommon in the game right now, though, and it's not something that the devs really like that much. So there's not that many characters that can do it, but there are a few. And also, let's not forget Krillin for the before someone's like Krillin. Let's not forget Krillin or Majin Buu or Beerus. So there's a good amount of characters, but I would say less at 1/4, I would say. Videl's 2S qualifies, I think. I've never labbed it on my own. I think it probably does, though. It's probably close to the same as the base Vegeta one, but I've never done it. There's 2 more, right? So then we have defense. So I mentioned defense for super neutral, but it's actually also a factor of its own. So also Baby Monkey, not quite actually. I don't think, like, as an example, I actually consider Baby's other stuff. It's not, again, it's not just level 3 Oki. It's the aspects are some characters do it with their level 3 Oki, some characters do it with their own move that doesn't cost resource, and I just group them all together because in the end it's the same goal. Like, you knock them down with something where the opponent doesn't have a lot of options, and then you like run it on them. So that's like another one's like Frieza. Frieza has a really good level 3. Frieza also has the disc setup on his own too, but I think it's like not that great. But his level 3 is really good, and like 17 also, his level 3 is really good. So there's a bunch of characters who have like good level 3s, but it's a combination of the two. Then defense, right? But I think these assists are their own thing in that you can use them to protect you in situations. So Roshi B is the big standout. UI used to be in this group, and he still has one in his C assist, but it's nowhere near as good as the old A assist. There's not a lot of invincible assists in this game for a reason. They kind of want the game to be a little bit scrambly, and having a defensive assist definitely takes that aspect out. So there's not a lot of these, and you also have the option to play 2. Some people play 2, and their team becomes very, very defensive, and it can be hard to deal with if you are not used to fighting against it because it's uncommon. Other characters are like 18 is another one. Cooler has an invincible assist. There's a few like C DP assists, so like Gogeta has one. I think Videl has one. I usually always forget. I think Videl has one. 17A is another one. And of course the big boy is Hit. Hit A. Hit A is the big boy. And then there's one more, just one more team archetype. One more team archetype. Let's play Kid Buu. Let's play Kid Buu. Kid Buu is his own archetype. You can just pick him, and then your team becomes a team of Kid Buu. Don't listen to the Kid Buu down players. He is eternal. He is eternal. Kid Buu on your team is now your team has Kid Buu on it. Now, not only can you do mix-ups, but then he gives your other characters mix-ups. So he can mix you up, and then other characters can mix up with him. Okay, right? So it's 6 types. Yo, Larry Long Dong Jr., thank you so much for a follow, right? Thank you so much, man. The last thing is that you can combine the archetypes of teams to make like a really strong team. And most of the strong teams in this game that you see like high-level players playing have a combination of these things. And this is why it's much more efficient, in my opinion, to look at archetypes from a team perspective rather than just the character perspective. If you look at it from a team perspective, you can pick the characters you like that do what a team does and then move from there. So let's use some examples, right? So let's look at my team. I have Gotenks C, Broly's Fist B, and then Broly X. Okay. Broly is just so huge you can't see Roshi. So we have this team, right? This team is a combination of set play, so using Okazeme, and defense, right? I would not necessarily say this team, I picked this team with the intent of having like extra neutral tools that other teams don't have. I have stuff that's strong on the team, of course, but like nothing that's at a glance constantly threatening, right? The main threat when you see my team is, oh, Ghost Okazeme is a thing, Broly level 3 is a thing, and then he can protect himself with Roshi assist. So it's not easy for me to get nearby him when he's playing neutral, because he's going to protect himself with an invincible assist. It also makes it so that when I knock you down, I'm safer. When you make me block stuff, I'm safer because I can call him in spots where you won't expect. There's a lot of things like that when you have a defensive assist that's good that you have to look for. Pick my team, take Broly, and put base Vegeta. All right, let's actually do that. Let's actually do that. Oh, it's point base Vegeta, right? So when I look at this team, it's also a combination of set play and so Okazeme. Sorry, I keep not mixing, but I use the terms interchangeably. Talking too fast today, jeez. It also wins with by knocking you down, and there's also the defensive aspect with the defensive assists. I think you use this. So neutral wise, again, the team has good neutral, but it's not the type of team that has like such extra neutral tools. You're like, oh man, like when I am in neutral, I am losing to this team, right? You're generally feeling like you're losing to this team when the person's hitting you, and generally when they knock you down more than anything else. Let's go with I mean, I showed a shotgun example before, right? This is the easy one. Easy one, right? This one is damage, like I mentioned before, damage. Gohan level 1, mad damage. Gohan is level 5. Gogeta has the instant kill. Base Goku has Spirit Bomb. It's accessible, so it's a threat. Gogeta does mad damage without assist as well. The meter gain is pretty good on this team. There's a lot of damage and threat on this team. Similarly, when someone does something like this too, they just toss Tian on the team, you immediately know that you're going to be deleted. Even something like, while we all say that this character is trash and stuff, I played against a guy who played something like this, I think. I'm trying to remember the anchor he used. Let's just pick one for him to make life easy. Let's pick one for him. Okay. So this is a little bit, might seem pretty unorthodox, right? But this team does a shit ton of damage because Zamasu, like literally one of the best things he's good at is damage. Hit also does a lot of damage, and he has a pretty like stable build of shotgun. So the team does a lot of damage and defense because he's got an invincible assist, right? So this actually, even though it's a weird looking team at a glance and it doesn't look meta, it does stuff that is meta. It does a lot of damage and it has defense on it. And like the game plan still works even though the characters are unorthodox. I'm trying to think what's a good, we can make a fun conditioning team here. Let's use Gogeta Power again because I like him. Who would I put as one last character? Let's do this. Right? This would be like a pretty good example of a conditioning team with super neutral, I think, because you have the Vegito on there. So Vegito has both conditioning aspects where his frame data is really good. He has good mix, but like, you know, it's mid-screen for the most part. So here you get to be really mobile because you have a full screen assist and you have the split finger shot that covers the whole screen. Then when Vegeto's out, he gets to just run around. You know, he's got EX legs. He has 236S as well. You've got Broly, so you've got a bunch of support with Broly, the godlike Ki Blast, the tackle. You have a bunch of stuff that people have to watch out for on this team as well. For defense, if I was going to make a quick, strong defensive team, I'd probably do something like this, I guess. So there's you could do something like this, I guess, if I wanted to, with all A assists. I could do something like, damn, if someone played this would be a little cat, by the way. I mean, this actually is not that bad. This would be another example. This is double. This is double, right? So you got Rush VB and Hit A on the same one. This is a good example of a DP team. 18 UI used to be one, but UI, you don't have UIA anymore. This used to be a thing, but you don't have UIA. See, but stream, see, you guys got it. Like, what about 18 Roshi? So see, you get the idea. Like, because you're able to look at the characters from this perspective, then you get it, right? For the last one, Kid Buu, this is the easiest one to do because you just pick him and then you just do whatever the fuck you want, bro. You do whatever the fuck you want here. This is the one, right? Easy. Let's put Kid Buu on there. Any questions? My point basically is that while the Dragon Ball characters do different stuff, they actually all operate kind of in a similar way. So the best way to like think about Dragon Ball characters from an archetypical perspective would be to look at them from a team perspective and not from a specific character perspective. That will make it a lot easier for you to not only think about the characters and what they do, but also give yourself a goal to aim for. How would you qualify Blue Goku B, Gotenks A, Trunks B? That team doesn't sound like it does anything specific, actually. When I think a team doesn't do something specific, I'm just like, oh, it's a conditioning team. There's mix on it. Like I kind of memed and said like Kid Buu, but like they're like mix builds where like you try to get your mix from blocks done. So like by having Gotenks A, you're kind of suggesting to me that you really want that. So in my head, that's like conditioning plus like mix, like block string mix. The whole way I want people to take this is that they look at it and they reflect on their team, or they make a team with these concepts in mind.